What's up? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, men of prestige, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ola. Welcome back. Thank you for stopping by. It doesn't matter if you're watching a live session or rebroadcast. I want to appreciate you for stopping by. We have a lot to go through today. Sorry about that. There were some audio issues. Actually, it was my mistake. But here we go. We're going to get into it today. We got a few things that we want to cover. As you know, here we talk about manhood, relationships, power dynamics in relationships. Those are the kind of things that we talk about, things that I feel makes a man in our society today, but particularly I reverse engineer everything from a results standpoint. I don't worry about what people think it should be, what it's supposed to be, or anything like that. I pretty much try to stay in the time that we live in and we try to reverse engineer the results we're looking for from a result standpoint. With that being said, we're going to cover this story today. This story with this gentleman who sadly was deleted over the last 1 to 2 weeks by his girlfriend. And then also we're going to talk about this young lady. Believe it or not, she's young. I saw age somewhere that basically said she was. Her name is Osinachi. She's a Nigerian gospel singer. We're also going to talk about that. There's a couple of other things we're going to also cover today. But the first thing I want to really dive in through is this gentleman. His name is Toby Obumseli. It's a Igbo guy from Nigeria, from the Igbo tribe. Lives in Used to live in Texas up to some few days into the past. You probably have seen this story in all kind of different places, but I want to approach this from a different standpoint, right? What's going on, J Bones? What's going on? Let me say shout out to everyone that's here. Shout out to Creative and Unique Expensive. Thank you for stopping by. For Harry's Tribe and Media's Group, I think that's my brother, Mr. He said. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you guys, right? So, yeah, so we're going to cover this story a little bit from a different perspective, right? One thing I've noticed is that when people talk about these sad situations with respect to marriage and relationship, people tend to approach it from a gender war standpoint. And that right there is actually one of our problems. Okay. That's actually one of our problems. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you for honoring the invitation. Right. The fact that we have to look at everything from a gender standpoint is one of the issues. Up to like a year ago, I used to absolutely despise when people say balance things out. I didn't like that because honestly, uh, from where I'm from, we say something. We say life no balance. Mean life is not balanced. Stop trying to balance life, right? If you've ever spoken to any kind of entrepreneur and they, what about work-life balance? They tell you that's bullshit, doesn't exist. You have to basically figure out how to make your work your life and your life your work and find happiness in that. How do you find happiness in that? Make sure you're engaged in your purpose as a person. Whatever your career is, wherever you spend your 9 to 5 and after 5 on, make sure it's something that's engaged with your personal purpose. And once you do that, it won't feel like work. You won't feel like you're working for the rest of your life. But it doesn't matter. You could be working part time. If you're not engaged in your purpose, it's always going to feel like work. You're always going to be searching for happiness that you probably will never find. And but anyway, I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. I don't like the balance thing, right? There is a need for balance in everything, yes, but when you put too much attention on balance, you lose balance. Perspective is everything. Perspective is everything when it comes to relationship. It's about looking at the glass half full as opposed to looking at it half empty. It's all about perspective. Until we start to talk about DV, we're going to call it DV here, but essentially, if you get into physical altercation with a partner, okay, and then it ends up in a situation where somebody's life was deleted, that right there is a no no. There is no way to shape it, form it. There's no way to get around it. There's no maybe, there's no nuances. It's a no, no. Okay? It's a, we don't, you don't want to be, maybe if you, maybe, what if, there's no what ifs. When somebody loses their life, there is no what ifs. It's a wrap, it's over. But with this particular guy's story, before we get into Osinachi and this guy's story, something I want to do just to honor these two people, because these were people just like us, and they were here, right? And they were just trying to be happy. They were just trying to live life. They were trying to make the most out of precious life. Starts with little things like you're spending your time here with me. That's why I will never take your time that you spend with me for granted, because that's literally your life. That's literally your life. There's limited um, amount of it, unless you start looking at it with a different perspective, right? If you engage in purpose, there's a good chance that even once you leave this dimension that we live in, that we call life, your legacy continues. People will never forget. See, every time you hang around people, right, the impact you leave on them lasts longer than the actually that than the time you actually spend with them physically, right? They remember how you make them feel, right? They do. Everyone remembers how you make them feel. So we don't get to say, hey, yeah, they forgot. Well, if you have a certain level of relationship with people, they don't forget, you know. But let me play this video. This video. I'm gonna play this video as a honor, a few minutes or a few seconds of it, just to honor these two people, and then we're going to extract all the lessons respectfully out of this situation, because we have to be respectful. It's still very hot, so we have to be very, very aware and be sensitive, and try to tap into emotional intelligence as much as possible, which unfortunately a lot of content creators they lack. They lack the ability to be able to do this. But I'm going to try my best, because again, there's no right way to really do this kind of things. But we just have to. Unfortunately, the show must continue. Life continues. Yeah, I called it a show, right? But life continues, unfortunately, and that's why precisely you can't afford. You know, you can't afford to waste time on bullshit. You can't afford to waste time on the wrong relationships. You can't afford to waste time in the wrong relationships. What is wrong relationship is subjective, right? So don't even take my words as gospel truth. I'm just going to share some insights with you. I want you to make up your own rules. So let me play this short video. It's sung in, a lot of it is in Igbo language, but it's such an inspiring song over the past few years. Sadly, I didn't know her until her life was deleted by her husband. Just that news broke out. I don't know when it happened, but it broke out in the past few days. But we're going to talk about the story. I'm going to share some insights with you and what I feel, and I want to hear what you have to say about this. If you're watching a rebroadcast, anyhow, please use the comment area, the chat, to share. I want to know. Bring the smoke. I may even say some bullshit. I want to know. Okay, but let me play this short video. All right, so we might as well just go ahead and start with this, right? Let's talk about this. All right, let's just go ahead and start with that, right? Because ladies first, right? Let's just go ahead and start with that. This lady's name, her name is Osinachi. Osinachi Nwachukwu. That's an Igbo name, Nigerian gospel. That song seemed to be more popular than her, but she's getting more popular than the song right now because of the sad events. Basically, over the past few days, a news broke out that she died of cancer. Okay, I'm going to try to avoid certain words, right? That basically she was deleted by cancer, okay, over the past few days. And within 24 hours that I stumbled into the news, that I started to see the news, I noticed that that news was retracted. People started to say she died from the hands of her husband. The picture you're looking at is basically her You see three pictures of her with with her arms around her husband right there, right? And it's a sad situation, to be honest with you. I think most people agree it's a sad situation. But what's even worse right now, uh, besides the fact that she's gone, right? What's even worse is that I've noticed that a lot of people are coming out and a lot of people are commenting on this event with complete lack of emotional intelligence. Okay. It's very important that when you're talking about this, see, at the end of the day, the society, the cornerstone of a society is our relationships, our human interactions and the interrelationships between people. And of course, the family structure, which is basically a relationship between, for the most part, a man and a woman who are reproducing kids, right? Basically, reproducing people that will become part of the society as time goes on. So our behavior around the kids that we're producing is everything because our kids learn more from our actions more than what we say, right? They learn more by observing. They learn more by example. That means if you're a leader and you think it's just your words that's going to do the work, you're wrong. Okay, you will lead by example, either you realize it or not. They're watching your actions, they're watching your hypocrisy and things like that, right? So basically the news broke out, right? What's going on, Sahil? Good to see you. Good to see you, brother. All right. The news broke out that after like 24 hours that, oh, that was in fact a lie, that actually she was deleted in the hands of her husband, who was basically abusing her. Okay. uh Reportedly, okay, we don't know the absolute truth of this, but we know that these things happen, right? Hey, Tawana, what's going on, Tawana? Good to see you. Right? We know that these things happen, so it doesn't matter. Let me play a video for you, right? And you see one of the excuses from a gentleman who plugged into one of my friends' live stream, Obodoyibo, who wanted to give an excuse for this. And see, I get it when people want to speak from, let's make sure we get all the facts before we comment. I get that. I'm like you, I would like to generally get all the facts before I make comments on issues, but this is YouTube, okay? People will generalize, okay? And we're not gonna wait until we get all the facts before we can, hey, see if we can extract some lessons, right? So basically, this guy, right, plugged in. I'm gonna play this video for you, and I want you to listen carefully. For those of you that are my American friends, you need to listen a little clearly because they're speaking my kind of accent. If you understand me, you understand them. Okay, let's play.
To say just three things.
All right, go ahead.
And the first one is there is this new narrative now
Hmm.
of silencing dissenting opinion, which I've also just seen on your program this night. Your
Hmm.
program is supposed to be an interactive program. And so, whatever your sentiments are, you should
It,
give people the opportunity to express themselves, whether you
it's
like what
supposed
they
to be, so it's
listen.
not. Is
Look,
that what you're
no,
saying?
I understand what you're, but just listen to me before I finish,
No,
with due
I need
respect.
I need you to address that. You say it's supposed to be. So are you saying that it is not?
Um, this literally the third time I've been on your program, even though sometimes I flip through them, your old sessions over YouTube and all that. I just go through the topic sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But this time,
All right, so let me give you some context there. She did a live stream earlier in the last 24 hours about this. Let me just say it, this abuse situation, right? Right, and it's a platform where women plug into and talk about women issues, right? And you have a man called in to say, hey, because basically some people called earlier and they were insensitive to what was going on, to the fact that somebody's life just got deleted. And then this one called in basically to correct her that she should stop silencing people. right? So let me just give you let me let you know right now. Okay, when people run their own YouTube platform, they can silence you. It's the entitlement for me. Okay, you're not entitled to nothing on social media. Okay, free speech. I get it. You think you have free speech in real life, especially gentlemen. They, yes, you have free speech, but you also have all the consequences that comes with your free speech. You want to run your mouth online. You don't want to be sensitive about how you address abuse and how you address relationship issues. Whatever you attract is what you attract. You also have to eat that up completely. So he called in to be correcting this woman on how she should run her platform. Just watch what's about to happen. Okay.
It's it's worrying that you're trying to silence dissenting opinion, which we see on BBC and Sky News and all over the place, which
I'm
everybody's
trying to
recorded about.
silence. How? How am I silencing dissecting opinions?
So that's one of the points I'm trying to make. Allow people to express themselves. So I'm done with that. Now, the second thing I'm trying to say is this: we have not, we have not.
So wait, let's slow down there. You see what he just tried to do? Even though she's trying to say generally women don't even have time for your bullshit, by the way. Okay. But but she's trying hard because she obviously runs a platform. She's actually trying to help this guy. But he got emotional. I don't know if you heard that. I heard that. Okay? You have to learn how to read that or hear that. I heard the emotions. He was dismissive. It's like, well, anyway, when people say, well, anyway, and they kind of move on to the next topic, that means they're in a hurry. This is a person who does not understand that, who does not, this is a person who is not a leader, okay? Right? They get caught up in their emotions and they try to passively aggressively, I don't know if I said that right. Basically, he was dismissive and he tried to move on to the next topic. Again, watch what happens. The impact you leave on people from an emotional standpoint stays with them beyond your life. See, we're talking about this lady's music right now. Why are we talking about her music? Let me play the music for you really quickly for those of you that just came in. Because that music makes people feel a certain type of way. What's going on, Mr. Rocker? Prenup first. Absolutely. um, yeah, women don't have time, but she's running a platform. Okay, so she's trying to be, she's trying to do the right thing, but ultimately there's a bottom line, gentlemen. There's a bottom line, right? Everything comes down to bottom line. Why is it that we're celebrating this? I'm going to play it again, just again to honor these two people we're talking about today, right? Why is it that why are we talking about this song today, even after this woman had left? She said, Ekwueme, what you say. Let me see if I can get the Igbo language is not my language, actually. From a different tribe. But let me look at the translation. But this is an extremely popular gospel song over the past 3 years, 3 to 5 years, but potentially, right? Why is it that we are talking about this song today? Because of the way it makes people feel. Okay, that's why. See, the impact you leave on people, how you make people feel, stays with them long after you're long gone physically. And this is what I'm saying right now. You have to pay attention to that. Long after you're gone, the impact you leave on people. Ekwueme means what you say is what you do. It's basically a worship song. For those of you that may not be connected to that song, right? So this guy, when you let me reference back to what I'm
Actually,
saying. When you are dismissive, especially with women, especially with your wife. See, I preach to gentlemen. I say, hey, avoid argument with women. You don't win. You can't win that game. See, naturally, you're not supposed to be feminine. So try to play the feminine game with a woman, you will lose within this social construct. You can't win that game. That's why I say that. Now, what's the other reason why I say that? Because I know naturally you find yourself in that situation sometimes. That's just natural when you live with a person. Sometimes it happens, right? So now how you How you avoid argument becomes the next topic. I fell into this myself because I learned from my school of thought that, hey, avoid arguments, right? From my own mentors, right? But then when I started to try to avoid argument, I was dismissive about it, meaning I would just be like, babe, I don't want to talk about that, right? Now I've left another impact on her. Now that's the next level of lesson that I needed to learn. So when you're being dismissive, this is not his wife. I'm just saying this is a good example, right? If you're being dismissive in the name of all I said, avoid arguments, you're still going to fail because you're leaving that impact on her. You're making her feel less than. You make people feel less than, they resent you. Now, if this is not a person that you care about, you're not in a relationship with them, no, you're right. So you move on, right? But if this is a person in your life in one shape, form, or the other, uh, they are going to multiply that impact you left on them. Especially if we're talking about a woman, she will multiply that feelings for you because that's just what she does. That's what the feminine energy does. It multiplies, right? Biologically, socially speaking, right? And the way it's going to multiply is going to reciprocate back at you, and you're still not going to have a good time with that relationship. So you can't afford to be dismissive the way this gentleman just did right here. But let's see the results. Again, I like to reverse engineer these things from a result standpoint. I don't like to just speak. I like to show examples you see and you can relate back to your life. You see these examples over and over, and hopefully you can act accordingly and just learn how to move when it comes to your interaction with women. Let's keep going.
Had a medical report
I want you to hear that
on the cause of death.
dismissive,
Getting
that
opinions.
that passive aggressive dismissal real quick.
So
Okay.
that's one of the points I'm trying to make. Allow people to express themselves. So I'm done with that. Now, the second thing I'm trying to say is this. We have not.
Did you see that chuckle, right? That she just did right there. Do you know what that means? I'm about to roast the shit out of this guy right here. Right? He said, let people express their. Now, if you're having a conversation with a person, isn't it best to at least get what they have to say about what you're talking about before you move on? Or if you're in such a rush to say what you have to say, maybe you shouldn't be saying what you're about to say. Well, if you're about to sow some kind of great, let's see, some kind of seed that you want to sow, right? Wouldn't you want to make sure that it's properly done? Right? So that you can come back in due season and it's germinated into whatever results you're looking for. But when you engage people and you don't even care about the results, right? What's the point, right? Well, guess what? Either you realize it or not, you're still sowing a seed, and there will be consequences. See, you can avoid reality all you want, but you cannot avoid the consequences of avoiding reality.
We have not actually had a medical report on the cause of death. And so all kinds of summaries have been drawn here, right? It's wrong. Nobody has the fact.
So again, a woman just got deleted. Her life just got deleted. And we have men. This is my problem right here. Not my problem. It's not that deep for me. Everyone will get their own consequences, right? But you know what I mean, right? You have a man comes on the stage and say, "Hey, stop generalizing." It's such a terrible thing when people are having a general conversation. You see, I understand when women say, "I do." I give women that pass all day long because of socialization. It is what it is. I don't argue with it. But when you have men come on a stage like this and say, "Hey, stop generalizing," what was the nature of the conversation they were having? They were saying, "It's time to stop. We need to stop this abuse situation where no one can speak up for women and the most vulnerable in society, women and children." And then you have a man go on that stage and say, "Hey, we don't have facts. We don't have this." That's lack of emotional intelligence. If they don't have facts, all you have to do is disengage from the conversation. There's something called activism. You don't go in the middle of people that's basically in the middle of an activism movement, right? They're making noise about some kind of pain for their own group of people, right? And then you go and say, "Hey, give me all your facts." It doesn't make any sense. It's lack of emotional intelligence. They're making noise, and yes, they'll be making noise in absolutes. They'll be generalizing. Yes, it's going to come off like they're saying everyone is doing it. It's going to come off that way. If it comes off that way, why not exit through the left? Right? Because again, it's YouTube, it's not that deep. In fact, the topic is so deep, what you're about to say is not that deep. You're talking about someone's life got deleted. So it's a sad situation. I think this kind of comment is the reason why this kind of event perpetuates itself. If enough people are making noise about DV, right? Domestic, you know what I mean? Violence, right? If if more noise are being made about it, people will understand that there's consequences. People will basically work on themselves. Now, a couple of things I want to say about abuse. Um, and I say this respectfully. If you're experiencing this in a relationship of any type, run first. You need to run first. There's no need for nuances. There's no need for but. We have people say, hey, why don't you go straight to your father's house first? But don't throw the marriage away. Like, dude, do you realize that most people are in this situation because they already know they don't want to throw a marriage away? They already know that. If they if they didn't feel that way in the first place, they wouldn't be in that situation. But you have some people hold on to the ideology of marriage so hard that they're willing to allow people to have their life deleted before they give an absolute. When it comes to physical abuse, it's an absolute. Okay? It's not an absolute in the future. We're talking about the now. No one is worried about divorce. You're busy, you're so busy defending marriage that you forgot that no one is even discussing divorce yet. So stop being so defensive about divorce. God hates divorce. Everyone that goes through divorce hates divorce. Do you not realize that most people hate divorce? If anyone is saying anything against marriage, like things like marriage is not a badge of honor, that's a person that hates divorce. You need to learn how to read between the lines. That's not a person that hates marriage. They're saying that because they've connected with some bad experience, either personally or with someone they know, with regards to marriage. Wrong, granted, right? Because marriage is not hurtful by itself, it's the people in it, right? But again, when people start to express these things, they express it the way they express it, especially in the heat of the moment, right? If you're going to be a leader, a thought leader, a counselor, or anything like that, you have to learn how to read behind the scenes of the emotions. If someone is saying marriage is not for everyone, that tells me that they will really like marriage, but maybe they tried, they failed, or they've seen some terrible experiences. Most of the noise you see about marriage online is terrible, terrible for obvious reasons because it's more entertaining. Okay, people connect with that. Most people enjoying their marriage are not online. Okay, they're not online. With that being said, let me just say this real quickly. I've been married for 15 years. I don't know if they're still here. I have my brother here, been married for 26 years. There are people that are creating content that are actually in a successful marriage. Sir Hill has been married for, I think, 15, 16 years as well, right? There are some really, really good, majority of the good examples are not content creator, but they are available if you're looking. With that being said, I think people that have failed at marriage should shut the fuck up forever. Excuse my French. When it comes to marriage, shut up. Shut up all the way, 100%. Shut up. Go work on yourself. I guarantee you, God forbid, if I end up in that situation, I will shut up about marriage too. But I don't think it's helpful to be advising on going to college and getting a PhD from people who dropped out of college. You drop out of college out of circumstances, it wasn't your fault. It's still not an excuse to be advising people that want to go into marriage. It's not. See, all of us, when we give advice, right, we give advice from the lens of our biases, all of us. So maybe I am also talking from a standpoint of a person who has been successful in marriage. Maybe, but you get the gist, right? The point here is that thank you so much. I'm not sure if you're a she or he, creative or unique, expensive. I've been married for 34 years. We need you to be creating more content and be available for people to find a place to go to because there's some insights that you have. We have people commenting on Will Smith. that don't have successful marriages or failed at marriages. It's not a shot at you. It's not really an indictment. I'm just saying you can't possibly be able to interpret what's going on properly. You could not. You'll be interpreting it from a lens of you failed in marriage too. It's not an indictment. It is what it is. There are other areas of life where I'm sure you've been successful. Focus on that. Focus on that. Because again, I don't think it's a good idea for a dropout of college to be advising a person who wants to have a PhD in college. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. And we have a bunch of single people having commentaries. They go too deep, they go too far, or they go too shallow. There's little substance to what they have to say about the situation. All they see is the worst case scenario or average at best. Basically, anything that shows up in the statistics. But you and I know that there's more to this. There's more to this. So, from a standpoint now of a person who have been in a marriage, right? And I've had my own crisis and experiences to be able to speak to crisis as well. We need to stay away, okay, from abusive marriage. If you feel, keyword being feel, okay? See, here's our fear. When I say feel, people say, but if you say feel, people just run with their feeling and they're ready to exit the marriage so quick. Let me just tell you something. If somebody wants to run away from a marriage with you, you actually should kneel down and thank your goodness. Okay, because clearly they're trying to communicate something. It's better for them to stay in that marriage and make your life miserable. Then you miss out on life, right? But if you feel like you're being abused in a marriage, see, up to 2 years ago, I would say, hey, everyone experiences emotional abuse and verbal abuse, and it's still a fact. But if you're feeling that way, at that point in time, I would say, hey, everyone experiences, don't just run. Actually, I'm now saying run because it doesn't become physical abuse overnight. That's not how it starts. It starts from a simple conversation. It starts from somebody feeling abused. If you're a man and you're feeling abused by your woman, if you're a man, you're in a marriage and you feel like your woman is acting like Jada, run. Run first before we assess the situation. Give yourself 90 days. Take some time off before we even get into argument. No, don't just run from it. No, none of that. None of that. Run first. Run first. That may be what the other person needs to see before they start to appreciate you. Actually, that may be the beginning of a new phase for you. Okay? And one of the problems here is that we demonize divorce. Divorce is already a demon. You don't need to demonize it. If a person is being abused, that means they don't really want to divorce. But sometimes there's overkill of everything. Everything has a level of overkill. You need to love yourself first in order to be able to pour into other people. You can't pour what you don't have into other people. And sometimes distance makes the heart fonder. It makes people appreciate you a little bit more. Especially like if you're in each other's face and you're doing that. Let me tell you something, gentlemen. You don't realize that you're capable of DV, of physically abusing a person, but you are. You are. God forbid, you just have to be provoked to that level. So here's another addition to that. If you feel like you're being provoked, ladies, you may not want to hear this. If you feel like you're being provoked to the point that you might lose your cool, run first. Run first. Don't wait until something crazy. Listen, you could get angry and just bang a table. Something flies off that table and hit a baby on the side, and that baby gets deleted. You just can't afford it. Listen, there's more coverage because of social media, because of the phones and stuff like that. It's always been this way. There just wasn't enough coverage, but there's more coverage right now. If that person gets deleted, you will lose your freedom. In other words, you also get deleted. Nobody wins. Nobody wins if you end up in that situation. With that being said, I want to get into this other story right here. Um, let me just share some things with you with regards to this particular story. Make sure I cover everything. Then I want to get into the next story, which is a story of Toby Obumseli and some really sad commentaries online. Especially if you're a content creator, we definitely have to do better with these things, right? Let's see. Share. There you go. All right, great. All right, so let's go into this presentation right here. So this is the lady we're talking about. Let's see. All right, that's her right there, right? She's blessed a lot of lives. I think she's exactly 40 years old. She was 40 years old, 1980 to 1920. This is a pastor lady, just for those that are commenting that pastors are not speaking to this. A lot of pastors are speaking up for the first time. Generally speaking, pastors are known, generally speaking, they are known for being, for the silence culture. The silent culture, they don't speak to it. They just say, keep praying. He will change or she will change. There are women, I know personal stories of women abusing physically their husband. So again, we can't afford to make this a gender war situation. It's not. It's simply not. It's just not. Okay. At least women are provoking situation. Provocation will not be an excuse for you, gentlemen. Run before it gets too late. You won't be able to give that excuse. It will be a completely terrible excuse. So, oh yeah, because she instigated it, right? Please don't wait until you have to give a terrible excuse. You're feeling emotionally abused by your wife, like she's just narcissistic, she just won't let you get it. Run. Run first. Take time off. 90 days. Automatically by the 91st day, that marriage is over from a religious standpoint. And then if you want to decide that there's been some change behavior and you want to work on it, you will have clear mind to be able to have that conversation. Not clear mind to be able to get back in the marriage, but to have that conversation. And you better take that time, because anything that's worthwhile in life is a function of time, patience, and process. Time, patience, process, space. Space. Time, process, space, patience. These are beautiful ingredients for greatness in life. And sometimes we forget that. Even when we're having conversations in our relationship, we want answers right away. Why do people run for apologies so soon? Because they're trying to brush the issues under the rug. Apologies for the most time are useless. Because most people are apologizing for things they don't even know what they're apologizing for. I'm sorry. What are you sorry for? I don't know. I just want, I just don't want to upset you. No, don't apologize if you're not clear on what you're apologizing. Take the time off. Oh, what if she leaves me by tomorrow? So be it. Maybe she doesn't belong there, right? Or he, right? Or he, right? So some pastors, this is a pastor's wife. This is a big pastor's wife. She's a pastor too. Ifeanyi Adefarasin. She said, without a doubt, you were a gift to us. Your transition leaves an indelible mark as men and women begin to reevaluate their values. We need to be reevaluating the values. Some of the values we're holding on to, the ideologies are outdated. They are outdated. You can't say stay in marriage no matter what. Don't say things like that. What you do is that now the person wants to run. Emotional intelligence. Every time you said to a person that's struggling with an abusive situation, now they want to run. Because, but if suddenly they feel like that's an option, suddenly they relax. They say, okay, maybe, because again, remember, they really don't want to run from their marriage in the first place. Right? This is another person, another gospel singer. She's huge too, Mercy Chiwo. All of you Americans, go check out those people. You will be blessed with their music. Okay, they're huge. Think of the Afrobeat version of gospel in Nigeria. They are huge. Okay, check them out. So here's a person here say, let me see here. There's a comment I was looking for here. Okay, yeah, I find it. All right, so here we go. She said, Auntie Mercy, we call everybody that seems older than us Auntie in Nigeria, just so you know. For those of you that don't know, I love you as I love this woman before now. I have always been praying for you, and I keep saying to God, I don't want. Oh, no, okay. She said it is well. This gospel artist right here, let me go back. Let's go back a little quickly. This lady, she commented, it is well. She posted a picture and said it is well. And another person just happens to have the same name, Mercy, says, Auntie Mercy, I love you as I loved this woman before. Before now, I have always been praying for you, and I keep saying to God, I don't want Auntie Mercy to fall victim of bad marriage. Marriage, a successful marriage is a badge of honor. Not only is a badge of honor, it's going to reflect in other aspects of your life in terms of success. You learn how to manage relationship to a point that you can keep a marriage or your home together. It will reflect in other aspects of your life. You haven't really experienced good growth, a solid, uh, authentic level of growth until you've been tested inside of marriage and you're able to pass the test. You haven't experienced anything like that. I always say two things: entrepreneurship and marriage will test your very core, will force you to grow. Okay? Never mind the finances. Oh, you save money, you get save taxes. That's all bullshit. That's the least of what you get out of marriage. Let's talk about you as an individual, the kind of growth level that you experience when you're able to go through that kind of fire and come out on the other side of it. Oh, yes. Right? So, bad marriages are not a badge of honor. Absolutely. But again, things are so bad. We have people that have failed marriages, people that have no experience, but they're observing the loudest failed marriages on the internet, saying things like, marriage is not a badge of honor. Since when? You can't even become a president of the United States on if you don't. They question it. You can. Trump has proven that you can, uh, but it will be scrutinized. You will be scrutinized at that level. Why? Because it's just what it is. Like, it doesn't make anyway. Let's leave that alone. People are commenting and making all kind of commentaries because people in general are going through so much pain when it comes to marriages. You know, frankly, because the loudest noise is from the failed marriages. Okay. Because I'm going through the same thing right now, but it is well. Domestic vow. Okay, DV. I always pray for your loved ones. It's a bad experience. Okay, so this person is saying, coming online to say, I'm going through it right now. And then she goes, you're going through the same what? And you're still there? I don't get it. Uh, I pray that you will never get it. But again, it's not an easy thing to just exit a marriage. Okay, it's not the easiest thing, right? Because again, a lot of people's sense of identity is attached to their relationships, and especially when we're talking about marriage, right? All right. So the latest news is that this guy has been arrested. This is the husband right here. In fact, some of the things we heard, just watch this. It is reported that he was arrested on Sunday after the brother of the late singer reported a case of suspected homicide to the police. This comes amidst reports he has over the years subjected. I mean, this was an artist. This guy will come to the studio allegedly and slap her, right? Slap her. This guy would basically tie her up, reportedly, allegedly, tie her up, right? Again, DV happens in the Western world too. Let's not get it twisted. Maybe there's not enough help in the third world countries like Nigeria. Okay, we would definitely say that it's worse out there because there's very little repercussions over time because of attachment to old culture, ideologies, or false sense of culture. Because is culture moves with time. You can't claim culture if your culture is stuck in 1960. That's just stupid. That's not culture. That's just being stagnant. Okay. Um. Let's see here. Let me see here. All right. So he's been arrested, right? He would basically have the kids beat her own kids beat her allegedly. It's terrible. It's crazy, you know. But that's what we've heard. Sadly, that's what we've heard over time, you know. So let's see here. Somebody said Osinachi's husband has been beating and maltreating this woman, but she's been doing in silence. Now he kicked the woman on her chest, and she's been on life support for 5 days. Here's the message. Let's all put our voices together and say no to these types of behavior. Let's not give it excuse. The only way remotely you could be close to the excuse is say, hey, listen, gentleman or woman, you feel you're being provoked to this area, you feel any remotely like somebody's instigating or saying things that can make you lose your cool, just run first. You beat them to it. Run first. Don't put them in a position, or don't wait until you black out and you put them in a position where they have to run first. Because if they come out and say you did that, no one is going to listen to you. See, people are saying, oh, but you don't want to listen to both sides. No, there's no both sides when it comes to this issue. You choose your side before or after. Before, if you feel like you're being instigated, you feel like you're being provoked, because people say things they don't mean when they are hurt, when they get caught up in emotions in their marriage, right? They do. Sadly, they do. It happens to the best of us. To the best marriage you've seen nowadays happened. You just don't know because they're not telling you. They're now enjoying the fruit of being able to get through to the other side. However, some people are not as lucky. Some people are not as lucky. Don't wait. Don't wait until it flips to the other side. It's either one side or the other. When something completely terrible happens, no one is going to listen to both sides because there was no both sides. You always have the power, if you choose to, walk away. You always have that power. All right. So if she's in a position where, let's say, she's lucky that she could still be here, or maybe somebody is lucky to hear me right now, you can walk away. If you feel like you're not you could be the abuser, walk away. See, it's a relationship, right? It's a marriage, right? Most people are running their mouth. Most people are not gonna listen to your side of the story. What about we get the facts? That's bullshit. Bullshit. There's no sides. Don't wait until it's too late. See, most people don't think it's gonna be them until it's them. Don't wait until it's too late, you know. So that's the story of Osinachi. I'm gonna play that video again, and then I'm gonna go to the next story because, frankly, it's just a very very sad situation, and then I want to dive into the story with that one is even, I don't know which one is worse. Both of them are bad. Sadly, that's what we have today. But let's play that music again while I switch over really quickly, and then we'll come right back. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So let's talk about this guy. I'm gonna play. There were a couple of things I wanted to share with you with regards to Toby. Let me put his name on the screen, just in case you want to see more information about him. So what's the story of this guy? A few weeks ago, no, a few days ago, the brother came out. The brother came out and basically said, uh, just make sure that audio is good. All right, good. The brother came out and said his brother's life had been deleted in some kind of high-rise building in Miami. And he cried out more so because he felt like the person responsible for it was about to be unnecessarily exonerated. You know, the race situation came into the topic. Excuse me. Let's see here. Sorry about that. All right. So, yeah, it became, then everybody started to repost that, they need justice. So his family, his name is, let me see if I can find his name, Obumseli. His name is Christian Obumseli. Christian Obumseli. Yep, that's his name. Let me just see here. Get the right name. Let's see here. A very sad situation. 28. It would have been 28 yesterday. So that was 2 Sundays ago. He was 27 years old, right? 27 years old. So he would have been 28. Let me just 1 second here. Obumseli. There you go. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure I get his name. All right. So he is gone. It's gone basically. But since then, I think the girl might have been detained shortly. I think he was out within a day or two. She was out, and she's basically walking around Miami like nothing happened. So a lot of people are speculating that this was only possible because she's let me see 1 second. I'm a little distracted here because I want to make sure I post his name just in case you want to find the information later. Let me just do something here. Let's see. Where is this? Let's see. All right, good, good. All right. So basically they put out the news. You can see the news everywhere. Everybody's making noise about it. But then a few days later, this guy, what's his name? Tariq Nasheed released some tweets of what this guy had been saying. There you go. I found it. Sorry about that, guys. I found it. Okay, I think I can share his picture with you from here as well. There you go. All right, so let's go back to here. Just want to make sure I can share some information about him. Obumseli, there you go. Perfect. All right. So the latest news actually is that we cannot do this without community. They're crying out to the black community to help them get justice. Right. But there's this young lady called Six. Her name is Six. She's very popular in the manosphere. For those of you that are part of the manosphere, and she tends to advocate for men. That's what I've seen. She tends to advocate for men. But this time around, she's basically saying she's not interested in advocating for this gentleman because of some of the tweets that they dug up from his past, from as far back as 2012. Okay, again, he was in a relationship with this young lady. Okay, a white girl. He was in a relationship with her, and looks like they got into an altercation. She stabbed him to death. Deleted. DV. His life is gone. Just like if we're talking about Osinachi. See, it's very easy to jump on the internet and make this like some kind of gender war. It's not. Okay? This thing is dangerous for everyone. And the real lesson that I really want to extract for both stories, honestly, is this. We got to go back to the individuals. We got to go back to making sure that people have enough resources to learn how romantic relationships work. Romantic relationship is a complex thing because people get caught up in their emotions, right? On both sides, on either side. You're not getting into a romantic relationship unless you're basically giving up your rights of being right. Okay, it's not about right and wrong. It's about ultimately, does it feel right? Does this relationship feel right? Am I quote unquote happy? The same thing that some of us try to run away from. It's not about being happy. Yeah, that would be cute if both of you subscribe to the same ideology. There are people that still do, most don't. Most will say they do and still won't because they get caught up in their information. They are humans like you and I. As a matter of fact, you that you're claiming that you're just this is about duty and responsibility, a lot of time you're speaking out of your feelings too. This is just your attachment to a lot of times outdated ideology. Why do I call it outdated? Because again, for the most part, it's usually not applicable to the times we live in, right? How do I know? Because you get caught up in your feelings too. You just don't call it or label it happiness, right? So a lot of time it comes down to semantics. But if we're gonna keep it a buck and be honest with each other, right? We all get caught up in our feelings, meaning you really feel like you start to feel abused when you're not able to get your point across, or you're arguing all the time, or you feel like you're choked or smothered, or the relationship doesn't feel like you used to feel when you subscribe to it, right? So a lot of people run for fast solution. Fast so I guess maybe the most extreme of this type of fast solutions is when people say they're going their own way. They don't want to deal with marriage anymore. Or go their own way completely. They don't want to deal with men or women anymore. But the problem with that is that that's cap. If you're a typical human being like the rest of us, you're going to crave for love and connection at some point. But because you're not operating from a place of awareness, you're going to fall flat on your face because you haven't really taken the time to learn how it works. Granted, majority of us will be in it first, fall flat on our face before we start to pick up the pieces. If you're lucky enough, you can actually still make that relationship work. All right. Sorry about that. Does that make sense? So let's get into this. This is the most. So this guy, the brother, is crying out for help right now, but I don't want to dive too further into it. You get the gist, okay? Um, I'm not accusing him of anything, but some tweets came out, okay? But before we get into the tweets that came out, um, let's read this from the brother, right? As a family, we strongly disagree with the ignorant and repulsive tweets from my then high school aged brother. Again, he's 28. At that time, he was 18, 17. Um, what tweets are we talking about before we move any further with this? Let's go to the tweets. Here are some of the tweets right here. Okay. Let's see if we can blow this up. We can't blow it any further. Okay, all right. Let's read it like this. Can't believe what's OOMF. I thought I knew what OOMF was. Let's find it. Let's see what it means. One of my friends. There you go. I thought I knew what that was. Can't believe one of my friends thinks I talk to black girls when I don't. Do you see where we're going with this yet? One of my friends thinks I talk to black girls when I don't. This tweet is from 2012. Let me tell you something. We all don't get away with nothing. Our past hunts us down. Now, how it's going to show up from people to people will vary because, again, there's so many layers. There are so many variables. Majority of the variables are not in data form yet. That's why when you get stuck on data, you're going to operate out of stupidity when it comes to romantic relationship. The majority of the data you need will have to be collected in real time. Your ability to be able to connect emotionally, speak to people emotionally, receive, listen from an emotional standpoint in between the lines. Yes, the words they're saying is important, but even beyond the words, the emotions that you're playing with. In real time, being able to collect that data and process it with patience is going to be the only thing closest possibly. Recorded data is not going to work because you don't even know the subset of people they've collected that data from. So when you start to break things down to the individual level, things get very, very unique. So a lot of us, we have unique ability. A lot of us. But when it comes to data, right? Majority don't. See, a lot of people, but not majority. When you look at 300 million people in America alone, 20,000 people is a lot of people. If there are only 20,000 people within your immediate circle of influence in your area, 20,000 is a lot of people still. But when you look at it on a percentage basis, it's a very small subset. It's a small sample. To even determine the rest of your life from a romantic lifestyle right? Romantic standpoint. So you got to be careful with those data and the interpretations of the loudest toxic people or toxic content creators out there. You have to be very, very careful. Learn how to read real-time data. How do you get that? You need to go through a lot of case studies. Talk to people that process, listen to actual case studies, okay? Okay? More importantly, find the success stories. I mean, if you're looking to become a success story, why wouldn't you want to find the success stories? Right? Why would you want to pay too much overkilled attention to the failed stories, the bad stories, right? One of my friends, black girls are born knowing how to shake. Hey, I guess they're bum, right? Me, honestly, I don't care. They're not my type. See, you can have your preference. You can have your preference, but it's often not wise to be loud about your preferences. When you're loud about your preferences, you're actually telling me that you need validation. Gentlemen, we all love some level of validation. It feels good. But when you need validation, you become needy. You're going to attract masculine energy from women. Speaking of masculine energy, let me show you something really quickly. Let me just show you something really quickly. Okay. The person we're talking about is gone right now, sadly. But, I guess we can learn one lesson or the other. So, this young lady, Six, the goddess, she had a few things to say because this this gentleman who's just passed away uh, was a Nigerian American. So when it's time that we have this sad news going around and people are crying out to the black community to help and stuff like that, we have people like Sister Goddess and Tariq Nasheed saying no, that we're just gonna have to step over his body and keep it moving. I don't get to tell them how to react to this. I just want you to see the reality of things when you're obsessed with ideologies. I'm not judging him. Many, many young people are going through this right now, and they're running for the wrong direction for solutions. They think obsession with a new ideology. Sometimes they say polygamy. Sometimes they say, no, just screw these women. No, let me just go to white women. All this kind of stuff. You're running from your own shadow. Listen, you can have your preference. You may say, hey, I love Chinese women. Hey, we can see when you do find a Chinese woman and create a successful relationship from it. After all, you're not creating the relationship for me or the public, it's for yourself. And we're not going to judge you for having your preference. But if you need to pull a group of people down to uplift yourself, oh, yeah, gentlemen, that's going to come back and haunt you, even if after you're long gone, sadly. So let me play this clip for you from Sixth Goddess. And let's see what she has to say about Christian Toby Obumseli.
Why don't you teach her about how y'all do y'all funerals? The first thing.
So again, we're talking about an African boy who is really just American, right? But it's not a foundational Black American, right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Make your submission. But if you would like to come up and talk about it, I'll bring you on as well. But after I'm done with this session, real quick, right? She's laughing and she's making fun of the situation. I mean, am I wrong? Is that a wrong interpretation? I listened to quite. I'm not taking her out of context. She's saying basically, you Africans show us how you do your funerals. Because why is she saying that? Let's go back to some of the tweets. Okay, here's some of the tweets. It's very important to see the tweets. Let me read them to you. The way black girls disgrace themselves on TV. You tweet this out. No tomorrow. See, it may not be a matter of somebody got deleted. It may be a matter of your career. Somebody went into the past and read your tweets. And the sad part about this, is that you're not going to know exactly what is destroying your blessings. Right? We're able to see this because this has become public news. Right? That's why we're able to see this, right? He continues. It says, black girls aren't the only one who can cook in the world. All right. So a lot of generalization. Listen, if you're a content creator, generalize all you want. When we're talking about your personal life and you expressing your personal preferences, it's just not wise to generalize. You're going to miss out on so much goodness and greatness from the exceptions that life has to present. When your outlook on life is just typically you paint everyone with the same brush because of one or two or three or generalized majority experience. When it comes to human experience, it's a very unique, complex thing. You cannot afford to use data to paint black everybody. It will hunt you down or hunt down your legacy. Once again, I'm tired of these black girls in my government class. Now, as you can see that somebody went and searched for this. How do I know somebody went and searched for it? People will go back and search for everywhere you've wronged them when it's time to make fun of your own nonsense. See, the scripture says that, I think it was Jesus that said, do not judge, right? Let me find it. Jesus, do not judge. Let's keep this in real time, right? Do not judge, right? Do not judge, lest ye be judged, right? Let's find it real quick, right? Judge not, Matthew 7, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. Some translations say with the same measure that you judge, right? You know, you don't have to be a Christian. This is literally how it happens in real life. But people will wait. People will be life. Forget people. The universe is extremely patient for your own time. You want to generalize people and paint people black and pull a certain group of people down to uplift other people or to uplift yourself or how you feel. Usually uplift yourself, how you feel, right? This is going to hunt you down. The universe is patient. It's waiting for the right timing. I'm not saying that's what's going on with Toby. I'm just trying to extract some of these lessons out because it's not even Toby going through this right now. His family have had to answer to this, sadly, to his tweets from 10 years ago, right? Is this an excuse to have his life deleted? No, it's not connected at all. It's not. But where Six the Goddess is coming from is that, hey, you didn't want us. Why are you so loud about it? Now you want us to fight for justice for you? That's what she's saying. I wouldn't say that if I was Six. But again, the internet is full of weird people, weirdos. I don't know Six personally. I don't know if she's a weird person, but that's weird. It's very weird to make fun of the dead. It's just weird. But again, that's the reality that happens with your past. The universe, the world will drag you. Sadly. Okay? The world is forgiven in the short term. It seemed that way. In a lot of ways, the world is not. Universe is not, won't forgive certain things, especially with the internet. The internet does not forget nothing. May forgive, but won't forget. That means people that are actively looking to search through your tweets 20 years from now for what you said about black girls will be able to find ammunitions to destroy your legacy. Right? Once again, I'm tired of Martin's show is just too funny. Gina be hating too much with her loud black self. Can't believe one of my friends thinks I talked. Okay, let me see here. I think there's more. I love white people. Shit me to God. I don't know what that means. White titties, black titties, just saying ha ha. Okay, well, people are digging up his past. Dang, all the characters I want to be for Halloween were always white. Change me. It's not good. Doesn't sound right. It's 2014. It's funny when my boss think I get offended when they say I black joke. Probably the last person to care about that nonsense. Okay, so all right. So this is the girl. Days after she was in that altercation where this guy was deleted in her arms. Okay, that's the chick right there. All right. So now they're raising money to help fight for justice. All right. So let me go back to what we have to say here. This is it's pretty sad that we have to go through this. Let me finish playing what Six the Goddess. She's making fun. I don't think, honestly, even me talking about it right now, I feel very uncomfortable. But again, I know my audience here, a lot of gentlemen. I need to point this out to you. If you have preference and your preference is driven by potentially self-hate, it is self-hate if you have to be loud about it, about how terrible your own group of people on the other side of the gender is. It is self-hate. It's precisely self-hate. Let's call it what it is, okay? Let's call it what it is. It is self hate. Okay? Now, you could have your preference and you could move. See, your actions are loud enough. And people will say, oh, yeah, I guess, that's what he likes. That's okay. Some people like brown sugar. Some people like it white or every shade in between. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you have to be loud or you're actively recruiting people for your own preference, there's more to it. You need to go through healing. It has what the problem you have has nothing to do with romantic relationships. It's personal self-hate. And it's deeper than anything I can say here. Okay? And it's going to not just haunt you, it can drag your whole family in it as well. Anyway, let me see what creative have to say here. Most people not born American descent of channel slavery make themselves a target of the wrong crowd. If they are not familiar with the race war in this country, someone will harm you for your choice in women. And yes, the black community protesters for justice will ignore the crime that affects them because they believe they should have known better. Yeah. I understand that. See, again, when you're obsessed with ideologies, right? See, you and I can be in the same family and we have different ideologies. And there's a level of obsession you have to go to. There's a level of obsession you have to go to where I start to offend my brother. Like actively attempting to offend my brother. Maybe it's very subtle. I didn't realize I'm doing that. But, I'm obsessed with that ideology. I start to create a level of self-hate. So the people that would actually protect me, like my actual blood brother that can actually protect me, I have been obsessed with an ideology to the point that I have discarded my loved ones. There are people that are obsessed with ideologies to the point that they discard their loved ones. They're like, you don't believe in this. You're a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I hate you. They argue toxically. They offend each other. They resent each other. And they can literally go 6 months without talking to each other. These are the people that will put their ideologies to the side to protect you and defend you, but you are actively creating division between you and your brother. You can express your ideology without offending your brother. It's absolutely possible. Okay? The people that created the ideology, they are not as obsessed as you are. They understand it as politics. Some of them think of it as a game. Some of them understand that it's extremely dangerous to be at that level of obsession with an ideology. Ideology could be your religion. It could be your ideas about politics. See, every group of people have ideologies that they are obsessed about. Every group of people in the world, tribalism, religionism, whatever it is, right? In Nigeria, those of you that are Nigerians, you're obsessed with your pastors. So Muslims hate when you attack Allah. I saw that quote somewhere earlier today. But Nigerian Christians hate when you attack their pastors, not even Jesus. They don't mind you talking shit about Jesus all day long. But once you attack the pastor, they get defensive. It's the obsession. It's not about your faith. Your faith is beautiful, it's personal. Your ideologies, your preferences, your preference of a white girl or a black girl is personal. No one is going to knock you for that. Just do you. But again, live and let live. For some of you, that sounds extreme. You really want to actively control another person's life by shuffling your own ideologies down their throats. Clearly, your ideology is not strong enough to get around the world, right? So what makes you think pushing it down their throat is going to help? You see what I'm saying here? It's very, very important to be self-aware about this kind of things. You can have your ideologies, your faith, whatever you believe in, but it's personal. Keep in mind it's personal. And if you're going to recruit anyone, you need to be doing that from a place of value, meaning they have some kind of problem that you feel like your ideology can solve. You have to be patient and listen to them long enough in order to be able to understand it, not just understand it, understand how to communicate your ideology to them in a way that they can receive it, not shuffling down their throats. That's not going to work in 2022. You're going to resent people and push your brothers and your sisters away. That's what you will actively do if you are not self-aware about these things. I have my ideologies. I have my absolutes too. I spoke one of my absolutes earlier. If you're not a presently married person, shut the F up forever about marriage. Shut up. That's an absolute. I'm not pushing myself back on saying that. You should not be advising people on marriage if your experience is terrible or is average at best. If you're in a terrible marriage, don't advise people on marriage because naturally you'll be speaking from your lens. And if you're a dropout of college, don't advise people. Don't talk about things like this. Right? So I digress because again, they're all connected, right? If you like white girls, like white girls. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? But you start shooting videos about people running to Thailand. You want to run from America when you were raised in America to Africa to go pick up a girl. You're fooling yourself. You're full of shit. You're going to fall flat on your face. You don't understand. You haven't taken the time to understand your own people, to the people that live around you in the same, to understand how they work. You think you're going to suddenly, don't you think that everyone put up a facade, a front? That there are things that you don't understand about where you're running to it's going to fall in the blind spot, meaning it's actually more dangerous for you. See, I'm an African saying that. If you're swimming against the trend, you better know what the fuck you're doing. Okay? If it's not working, it's something, if you're confused, it's something you don't know. That means it's time to learn something new. Stop running for the quickest answer or the something that seemingly is the easiest answer around you. Things like, let me go to another country, go find another way. I'll go to another tribe. Stop it. How do I know that's what you're doing? Because you're loud about it. Just do you. Why do you need validation from me or any other girls or from black girls to do you? Why? Because that's what it says. It sounds like you're looking for validation. It's not just Toby. Toby could have changed, by the way, before he died. But somebody pulled up all this and they're using it against his family because he's not even here to experience this. They're using it against his family. You made such a fantastic point, Creative. That was such a fantastic point. You don't know what you're getting into. If you're confused about what you already know and you know so much about everything that's wrong with it, your best leverage point is to learn what is right with it and learn how to use that in your favor. Learn how influence works. This is only applicable to you if you feel the need to be loud about it or feel the need to recruit others into it. So let's play some of these videos.
The teacher is about your little dances y'all do.
So she's responding to this guy's tweets. And the way she responded is not too tasteful too, but hey, we can't tell people how to respond, right? Or how to react. It is what it is. And she's right. If this was a war zone, yeah, they would literally step over your body and they don't have time for it. It's just kind of sad that she's not really a warrior. Why does she feel the need to do this, right? But hey, it is what it is.
Why don't you teach her about how y'all do your funerals?
Because he said in one of his tweets that I could teach a white girl how to cook or how to some African culture. You know, there's a lot of young men running around the internet. Some of them are newly married, so they think they don't know shit. Right? You don't know shit until you're 10 years in marriage. Take that from me. Okay? You don't know nothing. Oh, that's double negative. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. You don't know yourself until you're at least 10 years inside of marriage. You can't comment on it. You've been 2 years, you divorced, 4 years, you divorced, 5 years, 7 years, you divorced. Shut the F up. Go work on yourself. So I could teach, you know, at the age of 18, he thought he could teach a white girl African culture. He was raised here. He could not. I don't even know enough of African culture. I was raised in Nigeria from age of 3 to 18. I don't even know enough. A lot of times, my wife knows a lot more about the culture than myself. Some people say, that's why you had a good marriage. No, you're full of shit. You don't know anything. Again, you don't know anything. Okay? Just keep learning and shut the F up forever about marriage until further notice. Talk to me in 10 years' time again. Sorry, 10 years after a successful marriage. If you end up in a marriage 3 years and you divorce, it's not an indictment. It's okay. It doesn't mean you were wrong. It's not about right and wrong. You just can't talk about it though. You can't speak from a place of authority about it. You can teach us how to divorce. You can teach us what went wrong with you, what you felt went wrong about it. But you cannot teach us how to build a successful, because everything you say will come from a place of fear. Okay, maybe you don't mean to transplant fear to another person, but they will receive it as fear. Anything you build from fear, anything worthwhile in life was built from a healthy amount of faith. Fear, it's helpful in certain respects, just to be aware that, life can be evil and people can be evil. But you don't go through a PhD school with fear that you may drop out. You go because you're determined to make it work. Does that guarantee it's going to work? No, it still doesn't guarantee shit. How much more if you're approaching it in fear? Like your foundation is fear. Anyway, let's keep going.
The first thing y'all could teach her is about your little dances y'all do at y'all funeral ceremonies.
I mean, this is the reality. She thought it was funny. Somebody just died. That's the reality, right?
To get somebody before they're gonna die, your thin blood ass. You know what I'm saying?
Thin blood ass. Now she's making fun of sickle cell and any kind of disease of the blood. She's making fun. She thought this was funny. Who am I to question if she thought it was funny? I don't think it's funny. But again, I'm bringing you down to reality. There is a group of people that may not be part of your group. See, when you thought you were saying this, there were probably people in the foundation of Black American that will probably agree with you because it was cute, because they can connect with your pain, that you're not able to figure out Black girls. But then it's the same humans that will judge you when you're being dragged. The same people that told Will Smith to leave his marriage will judge him if he left his marriage. The same people that told Will Smith that he's being a wimp and not attack people that are disrespecting his wife will say, hey, why did you protect your Black woman that way? Humans will judge you regardless. Like, that's just wisdom. Okay? Humans will judge you regardless.
You over there eating all that foo-foo. You should have been eating some macaroni and cheese. Okay? All that foo-foo. Now your blood thin.
She thought it was funny.
You should have been eating some collard greens, macaroni and cheese.
I'll play another one for you. She thought it was funny. Let's see. Oh, wow. I think her reaction is funny that she thought it was funny. It's ridiculous, right? But it is what it is. Again, I'm just showing you reality. The lesson here, gentlemen, is if you have an ideology, you thought Black women or pink women are just terrible, or you think women in general are just terrible, part of manhood is to learn how to shut the F up. Why are you so loud? Why do you need to say everything that comes through your mind? Right? Yoruba people will say, must you really spell out everything that comes through your mind in words? Do you not realize that you're giving off ammunitions to destroy you in your empire or whatever you've ever built? Right? Creative says, love your people and fall in love with whoever you love. Exactly. Speaking against your people tells me, like, if you say shit like Black culture is trash, come on. That tells me so much more about you than those words. I know what those words mean. I guess you're trying to say, hey, we need to do something. Nah. But you find it so comfortable to say that, it tells me so much more. If anything, it tells me to avoid you. Because I can't, if you hate your own people, even if I hate your own people, if you hate your own people, I avoid you, because there's something about you that lacks a sense of just bare minimum loyalty to things that naturally I would expect a normal human being to be able to identify with. There's something about you. And we may not see it right now. If I engage in any form of relationship with you, it's going to show up somewhere later. So you and I, let's say, I'm African, you're foundational Black American, right? And then we subscribe to the same ideology. We decide to become something-ism, right? And we agree on that. The fact that you would take your other, if I start to hear things like you hate foundational Black Americans, I'm gonna look at you funny. I'm gonna look at you some kind of way. It's the same thing. If I like, I'm trying to be careful here. So I hold men accountable here, but I have to use wisdom in doing that because women don't appreciate when a man just comes out and is attacking men all over the place. A normal woman will start saying, "Okay, why are you attacking your other fellow men? Why are you so angry with men?" Right? It's the same thing. If I see a woman just spend their lifetime attacking other women, I look at you funny. There's something to pay attention to there because you're supposed to naturally not find it easy. Sometimes you have to hold people accountable, but it shouldn't be that easy, right? Love your people and fall in love with people whoever you love. Texas is one of the most racist states in this country. Share personal information with your close friends and family, not publicly. Yeah, I was born in Dallas. And I still have a lot of family there. And potentially I could be moving to Florida any minute. Right? So again, it's about man, you have to learn how to like be discreet. Be a little bit discreet. Yes, you can share your opinions, but you can't just be that naive that you don't realize that for every word you're saying, you're giving off a lot of power. I have to be careful here. If you go to my wife's and I's channel, Lola and Ola, we paste things there because the more of yourself you give, the less power you have. So you have to paste things because again, these things can be used against you. You have to be prepared that if you're public at any level, it can be used against you and you don't get to say, "Hey, I'm just being human." Well, they're just being human too. They respond. There are weird people on the internet. Trolls that will troll you and drag you with your own shit, even when you're right. Don't be that naive. Don't be that naive. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of
Are you ready for that? Because what I don't like is how y'all sit and you promote this lifestyle, which I don't understand.
That's what I was saying. She's right about that. Why do you feel the need to promote? Right? As a 54-year-old man came on a clubhouse stage and started to say, "Don't get married." I was like, dude, I'm not hearing "don't get married." Of course, you don't have to get married. Marriage is not for everyone. But let's talk about what's going on with you. Why do you feel the need to recruit people into that lifestyle? "Oh, because I'm trying to protect my brother." No, you're full of shit. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Right?
I don't understand why y'all can't just go do be that. Why are y'all always trying to recruit?
Yeah. Why are you trying to recruit? She's right about that. I wouldn't go as far as making fun of people or a dead person or being disrespectful to a dead person. Um, you know, yeah.
You did it to yourself. Are you ready for that? Because what I don't like is how y'all sit and you promote this lifestyle, which I don't understand. I don't understand why y'all can't just go do your thing and let it be that. Why are y'all always trying to recruit others for your movement? You know why? Because
See, if it's a public issue, of course you should recruit people. You're looking for reparation for your people, of course you should recruit people. If it's up, but something is personal preference that has nothing to do with right and wrong, it's just something you prefer. Shut the hell up. Just shut up. Right? Just shut up. Shut up. Gentlemen, this men of nowadays, this beta male generation that we have right now talk too fucking much. Shut up. You shouldn't be the first running to the internet to put your wife on blast. It's retarded behavior. No disrespect to retards. Victory Lab, did this man attack black women in general? Yes, when he made those comments 10 years ago, or was he referring to a specific type of black girls? No, it was general. It was general. But for someone like me, I know it was coming from maybe particular specific personal experience. He probably got dumped. People just don't say things like that unless they have personal experience they can relate to. People just don't wake up and say, "I hate black girls," right? Particularly if they feel the need to be loud about it. People can have preference. People can fall out of the skies and have preference because of socialization, especially if you were raised around certain type of people. But when you feel the need to be loud about it, that's coming from a place of pain. I found it to be true 100% of the time. I could be wrong, but my experience of what I've seen is coming from a place of pain. That's not an indictment. It is what it is. It means there's time to grow. Pain is not a bad thing, especially if you're a man. Pain is essentially where you're going to find your growth. But if you get stuck in pain, you start, you know you have a wound on your leg, and you take this thing and you take this thing like a little pin needle, and you start doing it like this. It's going to get worse. Instead, go see a doctor. Go through some healing. Because you may just find that, hey, that was just that experience. You may be enlightened. Right? You may just find that, hey, you attracted it. That's not an indictment. It's an opportunity to engage your leverage point in life. It's an opportunity. Yes. Because if you don't heal, you will hurt other people. If you run to the internet and you're looking for fast solutions, anything fast, it's not worthwhile. I promise you. Okay. Fast Burger, Burger King, McDonald's. Okay? Technology. You're able to hear me almost in real time. There may be some 10 seconds latency. Right? That's fast, right? But it took years upon years of work, of coding, putting this technology together to get to this spot. With that being said, there's ongoing work. Anything that's worthwhile in life took time, patience, process, space. If you're in a relationship, you feel like you're being instigated towards the direction of abusing other people, run. Run first. If you're in a situation where you feel like you've gone through some experience that you may end up feeling the need to abuse a group of people online, run. Go and find healing, because whatever you say online will be used against you. I'm documenting this with full awareness that this video, anything I say right now, if it's wrong, will be used against me 10, 20 years from now. That's why I'm just not saying anything because it's getting clout. I know content creators that say things just to get clout because it's more entertaining to be polarized, to be on the extreme polarized ideologies. I know that. I could just come in too and say, hey, this type of people are terrible. I probably will get more attention, both negative and positive. But I also know that that's only gonna the good I feel about that is only gonna last for so long. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. If I built 10 million subscribers here from saying crazy things to hurt other types of people just because it's extreme polarized ideas, there are other ways that I'm going to have to pay for that in my personal life. You can ask people that have all the money in the world. There are tons of examples. The William Robinsons, I think that's his name. They have money. They have fame. They have status. But who knows what they went through internally, personally, mentally, psychologically speaking? Who knows? Something was never enough. You know what? Because the only thing that can make you feel enough is inside. It's not going to come from, like, that's why I say anything I say to you, take it with a pinch of salt. Process it first. Don't take it as gospel truth, please. Have your own ideas, right? It needs to come from inside out because it needs to align with your spirit for it to be sustainable. It needs to align with your spirit, but of course with the society we live in. You want to swim against the trend, you will hurt yourself if you're naive about that. Okay? Oh no, I don't just follow the people. That's bullshit. You live in a social environment. People are social. You are social unless you live in a cave. So if you do anything that's basically, there's something wrong with it, just be aware that you better create your own rules. Because there are rules of life. There are social rules that make things work the way they work. You need to be aware of them. Don't be socially awkward. That's going to hurt you. A lot of people online talking are socially awkward. They're hiding behind the camera and they have a sudden persona and they're confident because they're talking to a lens. They forget that there are people, millions of people behind that lens. Millions of people. So what's the lesson today? What's the lesson today? First of all, let me start like this. If you're feeling abused, run. If you're feeling like you're being emotionally abused, it's a feeling. You don't have to be right. But that feeling is going to create resentment. You're going to end up hurting other people if you're hurt. Run first. Seek help. I used to say emotional abuse is not enough reason. Actually, it is. Okay? Because that's what leads to everything else. Emotional, verbal. You're with somebody that think it's okay to say certain things to you. Listen, your decision right now doesn't have to be permanent. I'm not asking it to be permanent. It's not relevant if it's permanent or not. Run first. And especially if you've experienced physical abuse in the hands of somebody else, another human being like you, or anything, run. Run first. It's an absolute. There's no exceptions. There's no nuances. There's no what if. What if you're going to talk to your father first? Why don't you talk to a family? No. Run first. Run first. It's a real thing. People do black out, even if that wasn't their intentions. Oh, gentlemen, if you've spent a lot of time just bottling things up, you saw what happened to Will Smith, right? You saw what happened to him. If you spend a lot of time bottling things up, it's going to show up in one form or the other. You need a violent outlet. That could be kickboxing. I do kickboxing with my wife. Okay? I do. It could be karate, something. It's safe space where you can let it out, right? Don't bottle things up so you don't end up going on a stage and slapping a total stranger. Be careful. Be careful. Run, all of the above. It doesn't have to be a permanent decision. It's not relevant. Listen, if you're not here, it will be completely relevant, right? Don't wait. Don't wait. I would post that, but let me just go ahead and post it. Let's post it. Let's make it safe. I don't care if we monetize or not. Okay? Run. It's an absolute. Have some self-respect. Especially if those of you that live in a third world country, have some self-respect. If you don't have self-respect, no one will respect you. People are not going, see, people literally, they mirror the kind of respect you have for yourself. Literally. Okay? If you have self-respect, self-confidence, all this kind of thing, you attract the best version of love. And if you find yourself in a situation that's unfortunate, it's okay. It's just now. Just run first. Run first. But no, we should get the facts. No, fuck that. Run first. No facts. Okay? The only fact that really matters when it comes to romantic, emotional relationships is the emotions. You will resent people if you don't pay attention to the emotions. Someone will resent you. The person that loves you the most will resent you eventually if you don't pay attention to the emotions. Much more than the stupid data that's being regurgitated all over the internet. Everyone is creating their own version of the interpretation of their own data. We're fooling ourselves. It's very, very important that we get this message across. Run first. I can't stress it enough. You need to run. I can't stress it enough. You need to run. Run. And if you feel like somebody's abnormally, that's the point, abnormally using you